I was 12 years old when I learned my life did not matter. I was a reader and a bright-eyed child when I learned that the moon in my skin eclipsed the sun in my eyes. I read novels. And I read so much that words seemed to fly off paper and form motion picture. I read so much I found myself waking up propped upon spine and page and word and world. I read so much I ate diction and I slept in fiction. I read so much that reading Hunger Games was like devouring an unexpectedly satisfying meal. Because when Rue and her satiny brown skin and her thick black naps graced the page, my heart beat to the rhythm of her story because she was me. And I may have read so much, but I had never read myself. And there I was, with my Katniss-like protector who always seemed to take a second seat when my name danced across lines, me. Finally, the front page story, me. The girl the reader would try to break through that wall of grain and ink to pull out and keep safe, but Hunger Games was a war. And only one would survive, so of course, me and I lay in dirt as dark as myself dying. And real me, in the real world, was reminded that girls like us are always sacrificed for the plot line, but for this one time, I was center stage. Me and my black race, and they would never forget this face covered in skin like dusk at the end of a sunset, or life, the face of this girl that wrenched cities and inspired pain and hate for this game, the death of this black girl that actually mattered this time. And when I died, I cried. And when they made the movie, I was pissed. Because they changed my dark and satiny skin into a sandy beige and my thick black naps into loose curls, because every casting director knows that you can't cast no black too dark like that, because ain't no death from no slave skin gonna make them whites race their battle stations to save him. But even then, even when I had been changed, stretched thin, I still read, Hunger Games fans are very disappointed. Because New Rue was still of slave kin and wasn't the tweet, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, innocent white girl I expected her to be, or tweet, I'm not trying to be racist, but I could have swore Rue was supposed to be white, right? Because even when the words paint the clearest image of a black girl, their minds can't sympathize unless they bleach her. Make her the perfect image for a white world, because in this white world, black kids can die at one per day, with hands up or feet tied in prison cell or parking lot, on car, in bike shot for running, walking, sprinting away like cattle, like dog, like animal, like game. So caught up in the novel, they don't realize the real Hunger Games happening in the nearest city. And they criticize and they chastise these make-believe worlds. So angry of evils committed in a faraway land, wrapped up in what they think is fiction and prose. But when I was 12 years old, I realized I need not read any more dystopian novels. Hell, I was already living in one. I wrote Hunger Games because of the controversy that happened around the casting of Rue. And I remember just looking at the Twitter, all the tweets, and then they dehumanizing and taking away the childhood and the innocence of a black girl, and basically saying that she wasn't worthy of her death being sad. She wasn't worthy of having a death that was meaningful because she was black. And it hit me really, really hard. And I didn't know how to deal with it except for writing it out. So that's why I wrote it. My favorite line is, and real me in the real world was reminded that girls like us are always sacrificed for the plot line. Because I think that it is basically just like a bigger statement upon how black girls are treated in the world. Like everything that we are it's always sacrificed for the bigger meaning. Our style, our hair, the things that we've contributed to the world. We aren't allowed to be individuals and be great by ourselves. It's always an underlying meaning, or our culture is for the bigger, broader conception of America or the world, really. I really hope that it speaks to the girls that were hit as hard as I was by seeing all the tweets and seeing us dehumanized so badly. It was also big for me because there's a part of it where I talk about how the casting of Rue, she was whitewashed basically, and that's not, to get at Amanda Le Steinberg, but it happens a lot in casting, and so I wanted to be a voice for black girls, especially darker skinned girls, who feel like they aren't ever accurately portrayed in media.